birthright to restore order as caretakers of the land across the land. The first thing we had to do is get rid of the occupiers, the foreign forces that's masquerading as our government and our big business, and take it all back. This is what the whole tariff thing is about. The tariff thing is about all them corporations was shipping jobs overseas, and they was trying to raise the inflation rate on the currency by raising the value of worthless shit they sell us. So the tax the people and send the money to everybody around the world. We not benefiting from it. Somebody got to show it to us. We wasn't benefiting from it. If you look at all of the tax money that they accounting for, they didn't found trillions of dollars that they got to give us back. I didn't say it; they did.
Yes, sir. Now, when you say that, where did they say it? Because that's the thing. There's a lot of stuff being said and done, but it's done almost in secrecy. But it's small little, cracks of information.
Both Elon Musk and Donald Trump have identified what they call misappropriated assets. Trump said it, put out his own mouth. That we doing this for who? The people. We don't know that in the tribal tongue, almost every tribal name translates as the people or kinfolk. We don't know that because we lost our culture through this miseducation system. They told us a history narrative that's devoid of us. They don't even count us in the history record. They literally ignored us out of history and erased us out of history, but we still here.
That part, we here now. Yes, yeah, that's deep. So when it comes to what we're seeing now in regards to, let's talk about Turtle Island, right? Can you kind of break down, describe like what Turtle Island is? I'm not sure how many people that's watching know what Turtle Island is or what the rest of Turtle Island is.
All of the land they call Canada, all of the land they call the United States and Mexico, all of the islands that's in the Gulf of America, all of what we call South America, all of that collectively with Greenland makes up Turtle Island.
That's deep. And within Turtle Island, how does that tie back to the years before 1492? Because after, we know what happened when the invaders came, but can you kind of share the real, I guess, the real owners of the land and like who those people were? Some people may say the Olmekians, some people may say, like, who were the original people who were here prior to 1492?
The old Mississippians is the oldest tribe on the land. The Washita Dong the Mounds that Empress Verdiasi talk about, the mound builders, those are the oldest people on the land. They look like me and you, but they the oldest people on the land, original caretakers of the land. We was the one that built Atlantis in the great civilization of the ancient times. We just had a nuclear holocaust that caused the last ice age prematurely, which gave us a artificial cycle under the age of Pisces. If the cycle is artificial, everybody is going to push us into an artificial construct of the truth. We call it the matrix.
Yes, sir.
You can't get out of the matrix unless you know the source of the matrix. It's in the mitochondria.
Yes, sir.
Right? And if it's in the mitochondria, and the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the DNA, right? Yes, and this is the spirit of mama, because we can't get it from daddy. Much as daddy love us, he can't give us mitochondria. We can only get it from mama. So all of the people on the planet trace back to Isis and the 12 daughters. the 13 tribes, the 13 bloodlines. They all do mitochondrial adjustments, and they got different skin textures. I mean, skin colors, and different hair textures and different hair colors that make up the spectrum of what we call humanity. These bloodlines of the daughters of Isis and Isis make up what we call the different races of people, but they're not different races. They different familial lines, and the concept of race has been given to us to separate us and make us fight for our enemy as if we was fighting for ourselves.
Not sure who Barrington Edwards is in the comments, but either you can turn all that down or I'm gonna turn you out. So you keep that up, we're gonna get you up out of here. So anyway, but with that, yeah, that's deep, bro. Like that's real deep. So I got a question from somebody in the tribe. They said, does Trump work for the Vatican?
Trump worked for the military.
That part. Yes, sir. Okay.
You know they went in and they went into the Vatican. The military did a couple years back and got our gold back.
Well, and that's where I was going to go, because that's part of what I was saying about the live I did Thursday. I talked about the Vatican being the stronghold of religion across the globe, you know what I'm saying? Then London and Buckingham Palace and them demons and devils over there being the financial, you know what I'm saying, so-called.
This how it worked. Religion is military strategy. That's the first thing you got to know. Religion has nothing to do with spirituality. Religion is military control of masses of people to elicit the least amount of resistance from the people you choose to oppress. You give them religion as the first wave. It's called the soft sell. If you look back through the history books, you'll see every time they get ready to conquer somebody, before they send in the guns and the bullets, they come with the soft sell of the religious dogma. Right? The Catholic Church is pulling the purse strings. He's just using Buckingham Palace as the diversionary hand. And then he's using DC as the enforcement arm. So one of them is for an illusion. The Buckingham Palace conjure is what they're using, that was given to Queen Victoria, I think was her name, by a guy named John Dee, on how to put us in a mass spell. We don't know about that stuff because it's not mainstream history, but it happened. The Catholic Church is the headquarters. It's the head of the beast, so to speak. And the Vatican is controlled out of Switzerland.
Right. And see,
and the people from Switzerland that control the Vatican is some black ass niggas.
Yes, sir. And that's what I was talking about in regards to the Black Pope. And that's why I said, like, it's crazy how the alignment is happening right now, because I've been talking about the Black Pope for a minute now, and people was like, you know, a lot of people never heard of that before. But all along, I'm like, yo, there's a Black Pope who's actually in charge pulling the strings. Like that one that we see, he's just a pawn. He's just a pet, literally. He's a pet. And so the one that's behind the scenes is the Wizard of Oz effect. So can you kind of break down who the black nobility is, or who those black people who control the Vatican? Can you kind of break down who those people are?
You remember they told us that the Moors entered the Iberian Peninsula in 711 and ruled over Europe for 700 years. That take us to 1411. This is around the time of something that they call the Inquisition. Right? In order to maintain control, they had to fall back from the forefront. Right? So when they took over Europe, why would they want to kick them out if they civilizers? Y'all got to ask that question, because they not gonna never volunteer to tell you, but if you ask the question, you can find the answer. Why, if they civilized the Caucasians or civilized Europe, as they say, why did they kick them out? What were they doing in Europe as a civilizer, because you got to understand, a civilizer is a guide to the uncivilized. And when that God gives them civilization, they become devoted or a devotee, right? So what would make the devotees rebel? What would make the subjects rebel? They was eating babies. They was having sex with babies. They was harnessing adrenochrome way back then. It's nothing new. So those are the people who is behind the Pope, the ones that remained in Europe in power positions. The grand illusion was to put the pale face out front. But we didn't know when they were saying the white man that legally the white man ain't even fucking white. Black's Law Dictionary 6th edition say that he a Moor.
Yes,
He's a Judean. He a Jew. And as long as we don't know that, they can keep pushing this pale face agenda to give them the semblance of power while they really wielding the power. As you say, the Wizard of Oz effect. Somebody put it in the comments. It's called a cat's paw. You put somebody else up to do your dirt so that you seem innocent when they get caught.
Woo! Yeah, this one of them ones, and we ain't even really got warmed up yet. No, for real, because listen, we can go so many places. Look, even the tribe said it might drop, because that right there, I knew this was going to be one of them ones as soon as we locked it in, I knew, because that's not even something that goes on just in that sphere. That happens in all spheres. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with people who don't move with the right integrity or intentions. So with that, how that is, oh man, that's powerful. How do we see those people who are pulling the strings, who are the puppet masters for their pets? How and when do we see them be eradicated, or when do we see the fall of those dirty business dealers?
Look, some of us is the only ones allowed to take them out the game. Because of the level of wickedness that they was doing and the way they concealed themselves, I tell it like this. Pretty soon, a lot of really good people, really good men, gonna have to do some really violent shit to some really wicked people. It's gonna come, and it won't be no secret.
Yep, that part. And I think that's where, for me, it baffles me, because those people, them same people we talking about, they know that Judgment Day not only is coming, but it's here, and they know what the deal is. So now, with that being said, for all the people who, because I know there's people who might have never heard any of this before, there might be people this is the first time they've seen this channel, all that. So for those people who might not know anything about what we're talking about, to break it down in like a first grader terms, who are those people? What do they control? And then where will we see the difference in our experience once that situation is eradicated?
What you mean when you say who are those people?
Like the people we're talking about that control the Vatican and control the current system.
It's the picture of the Pope kissing their feet.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a secret. You can look it up.
Yep.
Them niggas that came over here called themselves conquistadors, Huguenots, and English gentry. That's as dark as be or darker. Hair just as nappy as mine. But when they rewrote history, they painted them as pale face. George Washington wasn't a pale face, unless you talk about Albert Pike and Adam Weishaupt. The real George Washington was from Barbados. They still got his memorial house, right? But they put this wooden tooth George Washington up as the icon of the country. That's not the real person, right? The real person was usurped. How do we know this? When they moved the capital from Philadelphia to DC, why did they do it? The Big Mama put a curse on Congress Hall. So if they try to do anything in there, their whole life start falling apart. So the secondary charter of the corporation known as the United States of America, I think it is, or yeah, they was chartered as a business entity out of Washington, D.C. The military industrial complex is a name they got years later. I think it was in the 50s when they got that name. And when they named it military industrial complex, it was to let you know that this was the military of the Vatican complex. Just like London, all of them are enclaves. They city states. When you catch a case in DC, you automatically got to go to federal prison. Why? Because they're not recognized by any state. That means their state is fraudulent. Their presence is fraudulent. They don't belong here. The only problem is through miseducation and economic warfare. They put us in a position where we believe that they're legitimate government. That's Machiavellian, straight out of Uniform Commercial Code. All of they agents have to wear uniform at some point or another. Electric company, gas company, your mailman, your police officer, your fireman. They took the fire department. They took that from us. Because we had to put out all the fires they was setting to our buildings. That was us. We created the fire department. Right? Yeah, the dirty Moors. The righteous Moors is the ones who had to be called Moor to fight the fight against the dirty Moors. Yep, dirty Moors versus righteous Moors. And you got righteous Moors now that got tricked so good that they don't know that they got tricked. And I don't blame them for it because it was a hard thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? That's one of them things, excuse me. That's one of them things. Let me ask you this, because if I'm not mistaken from my studies and research, are not the same, excuse me, people who control the Vatican, the same ones who kind of have the extended version into some of the sororities and the fraternities of the colleges? Is that the same? Are those the same people?
Okay, now you got to know the difference.
Okay.
All of the HBCUs come out of Prince Hall Freemasonry.
Mm-hmm.
That was created by one of the chiefs.
Okay.
And his staff that were Prince Hall Freemasons to combat the Scottish Rite.
Gotcha.
Right? So when you read about it, it's come out as the War of the Roses, blue rose versus red rose, or sometimes they say red rose versus white rose. It come out as the War of the Lodges, red lodge versus the blue lodge. Left hand path, right hand path in occultism. All these different sides is we fighting back by turnabout being fair play. Stuff that they use to oppress us, we took it, studied it, and then we rewrote it to use it for liberation. This is what Prince Hall was doing, but he went by himself. We don't hardly ever mention Absalom Jones. He was just as instrumental in the founding of the Prince Hall Lodge. And if you don't read Prince Hall history, you won't know what he's doing.
Right.
Right. Now we had Noble Drew Ali came and went to the Moorish Zionist temple in New Jersey and found out the spells they was using. Once he found out the spells he was using, he wrote code, tribal code. We've been code talkers and code knockers. So when he put it in the literature seems bland to the regular man. But to the tribal leadership, it's phenomenal. He say stuff like, this was a clue he gave us. He said, I could count the amount of Moors that's going to make it on one hand and still have fingers left. 12 fingers left mean the most of them that's going to make it is 3. Right? Then another part, he say, the only thing that would surprise me was if a Moor would do right. Why would he say this as the founder of the Moor Science Temple? Right? He leaving clues. He wrote about a religious controversy. Why would he write about that? Because they're using the religious controversy as a means to separate and divide up the people. The religious controversy is another aspect of divide and conquer. Then they had the skin color. Skin color racism didn't really take hold until the 1800s and the Ellis Island immigration.
Yeah, boy.
The purpose of the Ellis Island immigration was this, because the Turtle Island, the Americas took in orphans from all over the world ever since the earth been here. So they was using pale faces and a brown paper bag test to keep us out of the institutions of learning, finance, the institutions of health. We had to pass their test. So they put pale faces out front. So Big Mama said, okay, turn about being fair play, invite them all. All the ones they don't want in Europe, invite them all, the pale faces over here, because we're going to overrun their institution with so many pale faces that the friendly pale faces is going to tell us what they doing. Because they did it in Europe already, so they going to tell on them. Because they wanted them out of Europe. That's what they had the Inquisition and the French Revolution was all about. They wanted them out. Now, when they get over here, Noble Drew Ali say, listen to the European, because I'm going to make him tell you the truth. He quoting Big Mama.
Woo! Yes, sir. So for the people, I should say for the tribe, can you quote, because I think Big Mama could mean multiple things depending on where someone is at in their journey. So can you?
Okay, so we're gonna do it a couple of different ways. From spiritually alone, Big Mama is prime creator. All of creation is in her womb, right? The tribal structure, every tribe have a tribal mother, and all of the tribal mothers have a senior tribal mother. On this land, she is referred to as the Big Mama. Right? And in every family, you have a Big Mama, a Muddia, a Nana, which is a family matriarch, because we are matriarchal people. But we keep getting stuck